Hello, welcome to another V's Cards video. My name is Veronica Chewich and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Australia. And in this video, I'll show you how to craft some simple-ish cards using coordinating products. And I'll offer you some tips and tricks and hacks. Okay, let's get started. Here's a quick look at the products that I'll be using for this project, but don't worry, I'll also have a link in the description below. First up, we're going to heat emboss the sentiment. We're going to do some layering, and then we're going to do some stamping and punching. I'm inking up my stamp using Versamark, and then I'm going to use a white embossing powder and my heat tool. Remember to shake off any excess embossing powder. If there is a bit remaining, sometimes I use my brush to brush it off, and also give it a good tap or shake. I have several other videos with heat embossing, so be sure to check them out as well. I want to mention that I was inspired by Lynn Dunn from Stamptastic Design, so be sure to check out her video. It's really great. I'll send you the link below. I'm adhering 2 background layers using liquid adhesive. For this project, I'm using the Petal Park stamp set as well as the Petal Park Build a Punch, which happens to perfectly coordinate, which is super handy for crafters who don't want to spend too much time fussy cutting. The stamp set is photopolymer and is specifically designed for 2-step stamping. Here's a closer look at the images. There are 5 pairs, and each of those 5 images are made up of a step 1 and of a step 2. I like to use the outlined image as step 1 and the fill-in or colour-in images as my step 2. First up, I'm going to make the larger green image, and for step 1 I'm going to use the lined stamp and I'm going to stamp onto my basic white cardstock. Because the second stamp or stamp 2 is quite wobbly, I'm going to line it up with the image that I've already stamped, and it should be a good guide for lining up the filled in area with the lines. In other words, lining up stamp or step 1 with step 2. Simply press down the acrylic block onto the stamp and peel off, and you're ready to go. For experimental sake, I'm going to use a lighter shade, a different colour ink, and do a full strength stamp to see what it looks like. With lighter coloured ink for the second stamp or stamp 2, it's so much more easier to line up inside of the line. And I think it looks better too. What do you think? If you're in a hurry and you don't have time to line up this second stamp, then you can use blending brushes by lightly tapping on a lighter colour tone to give you an interesting arty effect, and it doesn't really matter if you go over the lines that much. Now we're up to the flowers. I like to get about 6 flowers for one of these projects, 3 of each colour, and I'm using 2 beautiful new colours. With coordinating stamp punches, you sometimes need to be careful about the position in which you place your stamp onto the paper. Have the punch with you so you can turn it around and see where you need to face your stamp in relation to the cardstock. A big no-no would be to stamp in the centre of the cardstock. It's going to be much more harder for the punch to reach it. So consider the angle and orientation of the stamp before you stamp on the cardstock. The aim is to save paper by getting the stamping in the right position first. And then you can punch the stamped out image perfectly with ease. By doing this, you are saving yourself lots of time and paper. This time with my 2-step stamping, I'm going to do the reverse, that is, do the filler stamp first and then the outline stamp second. It can work and it might be your preference. We do need to make sure that the largest flower is on the bottom right. We're past the halfway section of this short video. You're still here, so you must like it. Please take a moment to like. And I also invite you to subscribe if you're not yet a subscriber. If you have any questions or I've inspired you, please leave a comment in the comment section also. Thank you ever so much. Your engagement will fight against the limitations of YouTube algorithms so that my videos are not hidden away but rather active for others to watch as well. Now we're up to the fun part, building up the flower bunch. But before we do that, we'll just finish off the layering. Here's a tip which will allow you to tuck in any leaves or other parts of flowers. Just place the glue on the centre of the flower so you've got room behind the petals. To add some more interest, I'm going to stamp and punch some individual leaves as well. The leaves will give the impression of more dimension and the appearance of a bunch of flowers with those extra layers tucked in. I'm going to show you what not to do and then a quick tip on what to do to save on paper. Your best option would be to feed a small strip of paper horizontally, but you need to have the paper horizontally before you stamp on it because it needs to be stamped in the right rotation and angle. Feeding the strip vertically for a shape that's right at the bottom of the punch is going to be a whole lot of waste of paper. And you may be forced to keep cutting the bottom part of the paper as well. Grab yourself a small strip of paper and have the punch laying down beside it. Then stamp in the direction of the image and orientation and feed it through the punch sideways for best results. This way there's barely any cardstock wastage and a whole lot of leaves to go. I'm spraying some Wink of Stella on the card front. It will come up cute and shiny, very subtly, but you won't be able to pick it up on the camera, I don't think. We're almost at the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. It's been a short one this time. Stay right to the end. I'll show you some pictures of other cards I've crafted using the punch and the Petal Park stamp set. Take care, happy crafting, and see you in the next video.